Hello, this is Sandra Lee with MiracleInspirations.com and the Breathe Life Inspirations blog. I have been doing a weekly video blog about your health on stress and what you can do. If you're interested in receiving my messages about that, go to MiracleInspirations.com and subscribe. Share with your friends. People have been doing that, and that's been great. If you have comments or suggestions, then let me know. Facebook Live is finally working today, a little bit of an hour late because the camera wasn't working this morning. The settings were making it so I couldn't do anything with the camera or the microphone. So looks like it should be doing good now. I want to talk about something different from food and eating today. This is the first non-food and eating topic. We're going to talk about foot position. So for as long as I can remember, I have had flat feet. And I know when that probably happened when I was in college and doing a lot of karate, and so a lot of stamping and a lot of landing hard on my feet. And I think that other underlying issues contributed to that causing me a problem. And I have been able to do something to help improve that. What did I do? So what probably contributed to me being able to have the flat feet develop over time anyway was foot position being off and posture being off. So a lot of people, probably most people, I mean, doing body work for close to 30 years, I found this pretty common, okay? That people's feet are turned out. So, are your feet turned out when you're standing and walking? Let's look at why this contributes to the whole flat feet issue. I mean, there's, when the feet are turned out, there's imbalances that are throughout the legs, the hip, the back, the neck. It's one sign of an overall imbalance in how you use and carry and walk, stand in your body, okay? But the first thing that I recommend that people address is the whole foot position thing. But let's talk about the foot position as it contributes to flat feet and bunions and things like that, okay? So when I have my feet parallel and I walk, the weight transfer goes through the middle of the foot, goes straight through the middle of the foot, down through the big toe, and the second toe is where the weight lands on in that step, okay? But if I turn my feet out, where does the weight transfer go, right? It goes, so imagining, how am I going to do this? I'm going to imagine this is the top of the foot. It's much easier for me to do it. Much easier for me to do it this way. Okay, so it's like if the foot is turned out, okay, imagining I am going from on the top of the foot, okay, so it's like weight goes down this way. Does that make sense? It doesn't go down the length of the foot. It winds up heading, so it's like imagine this is the big toe joint right here. All right, so imagine my thumb isn't there. This is the big toe joint, okay? So it's like when I walk, the weight lands here on the side of the toe, okay? The joint that has the issue, right, is not the little joint in the toe, but the joint where the toe meets the rest of the foot. So imagining that's right here, okay? So it's like when I walk, the weight lands there. Does that make sense? As opposed to when I walk with my foot pointed forward, the weight goes this way, right? It goes through these toes that actually support the weight. If I turn my foot out, it's here, leading to the body having to put more tissue there. We're going to talk tomorrow about bone density. Okay, so it's like let's look a little bit about this whole bone density piece. Okay, so it's like if I am putting all my weight on this joint where the toe meets the foot, then the body has to bulk that up to provide the support for the weight. so that it builds more bone. It builds, calcium deposits in there, leading to the development of a bunion there on the side of the foot and the toe bending over to the side. Okay? So it's like if my foot is pointed forward, my weight transfers down through the middle of the foot, so that the full toe, right, are providing the bulk of the support for the body weight transitioning over the foot. Does that make sense? Right? These structures are designed to be able to support the weight of the body. There's 26 bones in each foot. Tremendous structure. So it's like if you think about arches on buildings, right? They build arches where you have stones that go up, and then as it curves up towards the top, you have bones that aren't, it's like down here, the bricks, say, are rectangular, right? And they're all the same size. But as you go up, they either change the shape of the bricks or they put more mortar in between them so that they're not actually stacked right on top of each other anymore. So you create an arch structure, right? So that you can have a tremendous amount of weight that is supported on the arch of the doorway. Okay? So our feet are like that. You have 26 bones in here, and you have 3 arches. So it's like you have the arch that goes down the middle, the medial portion, meaning towards the center of the body, the side of the foot. There's an arch there. There's an arch on the lateral side of the foot, the outside of the foot. And then there's the arch that's, the ball of the foot, right? There's an arch there as well. So you have 3 arches in the structure of the foot that provide support for all the body weight that is going to rest on the foot. Feet are tremendously important for the balance and the function and the support of the whole body. Okay? So it's like if we look at putting my weight on a foot, okay, these arches hold the weight up and enable me to be flexible in my gait and my standing, and my whole body is affected by this. So imagine I turn that foot out, and it's like both feet go out for most people. Okay? So it's like I am impacting the ability of these arches to function properly because I am putting pressure on the side of the arch instead of in the middle of the arch where it's really designed to be. So I have had this outer foot position really for my whole life until I consciously changed it. And I don't remember how long it was ago that I did that. Okay, so the person I learned this from, her name is Katie Bowman, and she is a biomechanist, okay, getting to be pretty well known. So the first book that I read of hers, I don't even remember what the name of it was anymore, okay, but I read about this parallel foot position. And so I decided that I was going to change this foot position in how I stand and walk. And that summer, I walked a lot. Right? I was living here in Penticton, where I live now in Canada. Okay? And when I go downtown, I would walk instead of drive. And that year, I walked downtown a lot. I went to the library. I went downtown to pay bills. Went down to do business. So like all sorts of things. Every time I would walk. And that summer, I walked a ton. And I just consciously paid attention to pulling my feet in. So it's like if you're accustomed to walking with your feet out, having the intention to walk with your feet forward is going to feel weird initially, right? And you're going to have to pay attention to it, like consciously. It's like, oh, there it is. I can turn my foot out and turn it in, and it's going to feel like you're walking pigeon-toed. It will, okay? And when I did that, I could feel that, like, this muscle here on the front, not outside side of the hip, but on the front of the hip, where the leg, the inguinal area where the leg comes in, there's a muscle called the tensor fasciae lata there. And because I was changing how I was rotating and walking and standing on my legs, that muscle got really, really sore. Because I was using it differently, using it more, requiring it to work more. And I thought that having this change in foot position be sustainable, I thought it was going to take me a long time, that I was going to have to do this for quite a while. Okay, and again, I was walking a lot that summer. Okay, so in less than a month, I wasn't having to pay attention to it anymore. It went a lot faster than I thought, getting used to this change in the foot position. So it became normal for my foot position to be parallel. So having my feet be parallel and with the feet, with the legs and the feet underneath the hip sockets. Right? Because a lot of people, another thing about foot position is people tend to walk and stand with their feet too close together. And some people even have their feet like next to each other. So if I have my feet next to each other, it's like, imagine there's just not enough support. I'm wobbly, unstable side to side. But if I put my feet actually underneath my hip sockets and parallel, then that provides stable support for my body to rest above it. So in about a month, I no longer needed to pay attention to maintaining parallel foot position. Why? Because now having my feet be parallel feels normal. Now sometimes I still catch myself with turned out, but it feels weird now. It feels normal for me to have them parallel now, and it feels noticeable weird when they're turned out, and so I notice, oh, I got my feet turned out, and I put them parallel. So it's like whatever your normal state is, that's what will, not grab your attention. And if it feels abnormal, that's when you wind up saying, oh, make that change. So within less than a month, parallel foot position felt normal. And now it feels weird when I stand and when I walk with them turned out, and so I immediately correct it. Amazing difference. Okay? So just changing that one thing, I still have flat feet, right? I have noticed that there is more feeling of arch, right? More support in the arch. Instead, my feet used to flatten all the way down on the medial portion, right? In the middle, big toe side, right? Used to flatten all the way down to the floor. Okay? Now, I can get it down to the floor, but I kind of have to work to put it there. Like turn my leg to the side and purposely try to get I actually can't get my arch all the way down to the ground anymore. Isn't that wonderful? Right? Over time, my body has demanded more support in the arch. I didn't realize before that I can't get my arch all the way to the floor anymore. That's a huge sign of progress, to go from having it be completely flat, right, and hurting, right? My feet, used to bother me. They still do bother me sometimes now, but less so because I take care of them properly and I have the parallel foot position. So just realizing that I now have more support in my arch. The structure itself is changing. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow when we talk more about bone density. Okay? So it's when you basically demand something of your body, demand something of your body's function, your body will do what it can to support that function, including changing the structure of the bones and the tissues, the connective tissues around the bones. When I demand something differently on a bone, the bone's going to put more material there. So it's I was talking about with the turned out foot position, with the weight transfer going through where the toe, big toe meets the foot, right? If I am putting weight on it every time I step, every time I walk, right? The body is going to say, we need more tissue here. We need more strength, more support here. God put more bone in. So you get a big knob there. And when you have a knob there, then that forces the toe over to the side. Now, for me, part of why that whole, bunion thing happened, and it could be that this is where the part of the foot turnout may all have started, right, is the shoes that my parents bought for me had narrow toes. right? It's not good for having a wide foot, right, that doesn't have the toes crunched together. So I don't know what it was that started me off with the turned out foot position. Truthfully, I think it's probably a combination of shoes with narrow toes and watching my parents walk. Because we learn how to use our bodies, including standing, walking, and everything else, from watching our parents when we are little. Our parents are the teachers, the examples, the models that we follow for what's required for living life, for being a person in the world, for doing whatever, for relating with people, all those things. So parents are the model. So over and over again, you see that if a parent has their feet turned out, then the child will have their feet turned out. Now, in my opinion, it's probably much more common, actually, for people to have their feet turned out than to have them be parallel. So I don't have an example to bring to mind of a parent who has parallel foot position leading to their children having parallel foot position. Now, I imagine Katie Bowman, the biomechanist, person who I talk about, I bet her children probably learned, grew up, having parallel foot position because she probably modeled it for them that way. That's my bet. So they did not learn a bad body habit from their parent in the beginning because the parent started off with the better, healthier pattern. So anyway, that's what I have to say about foot position. Foot position then leads to, structure and how the rest of the body winds up functioning in terms of posture and how you use it. Okay? But just making this first start. So for me, changing my foot position was the first thing I did to adjust how my body structure operated. So if you have feet turned out, for you, a good thing to try is to start turning them parallel and paying attention to that. And see how long it takes you to have them be parallel without noticing it. I'd be really interested to hear what that experience is like for you. Okay, so this is Sandra Lee with MiracleInspirations.com and Breathe Life's Inspirations blog. Something I am working on that you may look for sometime soon is group biofield tuning sessions with a global focus. I want to do sessions where people are able to take their intentions they want to put out into the world and have me put that into the biofield tuning session to broadcast that out to the world. There's a lot of things going on in the world out there that are crazy, right? Like nutty, batshit crazy. People doing insane things. And I have been doing global biofield tuning sessions for a while now and finding them to be pretty powerful. But I want to start doing them where I am incorporating other people's intentions into the session with me and doing group sessions like that. So I'd like to hear your thoughts about that. If you think that would be a good thing, something you might be interested in participating in and contributing to. Because I think there are a lot of people out there that feel powerless to be able to do anything about what's going on in the world. I'm not interested in going out and marching and all that stuff. It's not happening in Canada anyway, right? But I'm not interested in demonstrating. But I still want to make a difference. And there might be other people who feel the same. Or even if you are someone who wants to demonstrate, right? To be able to energetically put your intentions into the collective field for the purposes of healing. So there will be more coming about that soon. I guess I talked about that for a couple of minutes there. Sandra Lee with MiracleInspirations.com and the Breathe Life's Inspirations blog. Have a wonderful day. Love yourself and someone else. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. Breathe.